cool slang goes to die an uncool death. Oh man. All right, so yeah, we'll be good. We've got some people joining us. Hello, everyone.
Can we just do a check? Can you guys see me and hear me okay?
Okay. And actually, that works out great because we're getting the audio through your other one. Oh, that's the only thing. You're gonna get an echo. Hold on here.
What do you mean?
Well, because I just started getting an echo because I launched the YouTube live streaming, so I had to minimize that. But what's gonna happen then as part of the recording is that if you are speaking, it's not going to show your video screen on as like our thumbnail in the corner of the screen share of the screen recording.
So you want me to speak and video on the same device?
If you could.
Okay. Let me figure that out.
Okay.
I can do it.
Okay.
And if at some point you see me glitching, like Jill and I did last time, just give me a hand wave. I'll stop. And then I'll say, can you hear me now? And it'll be like a normal webinar.
Are you joining us? Is everyone here?
All right. I'm going to go with phone since it's more of an updated device. I think we'll be better off. Can you guys still hear me?
With that too. Oh yeah, loud and clear. You're good.
Great. All right.
Jill, it's nice to meet you. My name's Meg.
Nice to meet you, Meg. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love your hair, by the way. It looks great.
Thank you. I'm a designer, so I can have pink in my hair.
Oh yeah, mine's purple. It's just really terrible right now.
Oh, right on. I see it now. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. All right. So do you have any questions for me before we get started? We've got 5 minutes. Hi, everyone joining. We've got 5 minutes. So if you have any questions about how the chat and learn works, anything, I'm here to make everything go more smoothly. So
thanks. Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. Excellent. Hi, Munir. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, Andre. Who else we got here? We've got Hugh. We've got Christina. We've got Joyce. One thing I am going to call out, we've got 4 minutes before the chat starts. I'll give you guys a 1 minute, hey, we're getting ready to go kind of thing. But if anybody wants to put in the Zoom chat or turn on your video and come off mute and talk to us, you're more than welcome. But let us know where you're calling from, like where you're joining us from. I'm always really interested to see kind of the global reach of our chat and learns. A couple days ago, we had somebody from Nigeria and another person from Calgary and someone from Turkey all on one call, and it was very fun for me. Ooh, we've got Istanbul, Edmonton.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very cool, guys. I'm in Ohio, so, very exotic. Ooh, London. Very, very cool. So you guys looking forward to the weekend?
Yes.
Or is time a flat circle and days have no meaning? And
yeah, I'm trying to decide if today, after we're done, do I go outside and get some vitamin D and try to explore, or do I hunker down and work and wait till the weekend? And like you said, it's kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Jill, you know my answer.
I know your answer. You know mine too. You know what I'm going to do.
It's the new revolution. ASAP is poison. Have a life first. Everything else will get done. That's how Jill and I work, and that's how we're doing it.
Oh, I like that.
I've been much healthier and much more sane by following that. Otherwise, I think it was a forced survival skill for right now.
Very, very true. I mean, I've got plans to go out Sunday to do yard work because it'll be warm enough and I need to get some sunlight or I'm going to end up with rickets, like addiction. So it's not going to be good. I made some joke about that the other day and my husband threw a lime at me and I'm like, that's not how he's like, well, now you won't get, what is it, scurvy. Scurvy, now you won't get scurvy either. I'm like, all right, well, those are equivalent afflictions. I'm good with that.
That's funny.
Do you guys fall prey to the bread baking craze too, or no?
Not yet.
No, we're pretty much gluten-free at the house. So we've been baking a lot, but no like official bread. Yeah.
I gotcha.
No starter kits.
I'm like, I got into baking like, three or 4 years ago because I wanted to learn how to do macarons. Turns out they're not that hard. They're just like particular. So you get a recipe, you stick with it. It's not that bad, but like, you know, whatever. So I got into it, learned how to make focaccia. It's amazing. But I got to tell you, these people that like talk about their sourdough starters like it's a pet, there's something not right about that. Can't put my finger on it, but it's just not like, I get that it's alive, but you keep it in a closet. That's not what you do with a pet. I'm worried for you. Please don't tell me you're going to get a dog or a cat or something. I'm really concerned.
I get it. Anyone who could make me some fresh bread, I am happy to chat with them. It's like one of my favorite things, but it is fun.
Andre says that they feed it.
They do. You have to. So I have done it in the past, and you can kind of get a starter, and then you pass it to a friend, and it's kind of like this little community thing of sharing your starter.
And I think that's adorable, but there's something behind the name of like the mother. What is it? The mother something. It's not like it's Mother Doe. Maybe there's something about that name that just like squicks me out, something fierce, and I don't understand it, but I'm just like, can we just not call it the Mother Doe? Can we just not? Can we call it like Patient X or something? Something like that's not a good joke in a pandemic. I realize that, but like, can we come up with any other name? Optimus Prime, anything.
For those of you that just joined, this is a job search. We are just talking about bread right now while we're waiting for everyone.
All right, it's 3 o'clock right now. I'm gonna give us 1 more minute before we start. I'm gonna do a quick double check, make sure nobody's having problems joining or anything. And then we will get going.
I'm just gonna say yes to the banana bread. I have made that gluten-free and it's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And add chocolate chips.
Gluten-free baking is all about the it's like
xanthan.
Yeah, it's all about like faking the starch or something, right? Like faking that
thing that the gluten
yeah,
that literally
like the stringiness.
Yeah, it's gotten better, thank goodness. I cheat all the time, but
there is an amazing organic bakery in the next town over from me. It's amazing, like to the point that you probably wouldn't even know that it was gluten-free bread, gluten-free cakes. Oh, it's the best.
All right, I'm hungry now.
I know, sorry guys.
Help me
Sorry.
find bread or a cupcake. Like, come on now.
My apologies. I highly recommend crescent rolls. They stay in your fridge forever.
And to Andre, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That show is hilarious. And I'm so glad we all kept it on the air. Because we should be able to decide what we keep. I'm also brokenhearted over Schitt's Creek if you're also a fan. I am
but it
dying
was so
for them to make a movie.
It was so nice.
But they're not renewing it?
No, they decided they were going to be done because of the story that they developed. I don't want to do spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it because it hasn't hit streaming yet. It's only available if you have cable.
Right. Oh,
Yeah, it's not on Netflix
so
yet.
good. It's so beautiful. I love Dan Levy so much.
The whole thing, that whole
like an unhealthy level where it's like, if I ever met him, I'd be very embarrassing and it would be bad.
Yep. I love watching the interviews with them. It's really funny. And I had no idea that Twyla was actually Eugene Levy's daughter until, I don't know, seasons later, because they look nothing alike.
Yeah, I knew Dan Levy.
Blonde and blue-eyed beautiful, yeah.
But if you look at it, you can tell that she has a lot of features of her father.
Okay, I'm going to have to pay attention.
Yeah. Resemblance just smacks you over the face so hard that like there's no room for hers to stand up next to that because you're like, well, there's no denying him. Like,
oh my God, they're so funny. I just live for an opportunity to use the phrase "a whisper of desire" at some time in my life, and I hope it has to do with like my mom or my aunt. It was one of the funfunniest episodes ever. I don't know. Does anybody want to talk about comedy?
Yes,
for an hour? What are you doing? Who cares? Why not? Anybody got to stand up? Let's go.
All right. Okay. Let me start the recording here, and then we will get going.
Oh yeah, we have a webinar.
You know, the thing we signed up to do. All right. Welcome. Happy Thursday. We're so close to Friday, guys. We're gonna make it. I have great faith in all of us. I'm super excited to start this chat. Not only because I'm really excited about the subject, but I've gotten to spend a lovely, couple of minutes sort of pre-gaming this whole thing with Jill and Kelly. And hopefully all of you that tuned in the middle of bread and stayed for talk of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Schitt's Creek will hang out and stay for the discussion of, what we're all here to talk about. So, quick couple housekeeping items. Hi, my name's Meg. I'm part of the marketing team here at Powerfly, in case you're new here. If you have joined a chat and learned with us previously, the next minute or so, minute and a half is going to be repetitive for you, so I apologize. So real quick, couple things. Today is all about you, literally. It's our community members. We want all of you to get as much as you can out of today. So please, please, please feel free to turn on your cameras, come off mute to ask questions. And you are also more than welcome to write questions into the Zoom chat if you have, audio issues, video issues, whatever. Don't feel pressured to come off, turn your cameras on if you don't want to. But I, for one, very much treasure the moments I get to see unfamiliar faces. So please, please, please join us. If you want to write a question and you want it asked anonymously, drop it into the Zoom chat and just, instead of sending it to everyone, use the drop down and select my name, Meg Alexander -Powerfly, down there. And you can, Kelly, you're killing me in the chat right now. And you can send it to me anonymously. No one else will know who sent it. I'll raise the question and I'll make sure you remain anonymous to protect your secret identity. Secondarily, if you are going to come off mute, like word to the wise, if you're going to come off mute to ask a question, we try not to crosstalk. I know it can be hard with lag times. We do our best, try to be conscientious of people. And word to the wise, go back on mute when you're not actively talking. It's a really easy way to make sure that audio quality stays great for everybody on the call. I will be doing it frequently so that you don't hear the bulldogs snoring on the couch 2 feet from my desk right now. So last thing, don't feel like you need to take feverish notes. Everything's being recorded. In fact, we are streaming live to YouTube as we speak. Super exciting. And you'll be getting a link to this recording when it goes live on our website as well. Anybody that registers today will get that. It doesn't matter if you registered and didn't attend at all, or if you registered, stayed for 5 minutes and got kicked off, whatever, everyone will get a rewatch link. It will also have additional content attached to it, which we will talk about a little bit later in our chat. And then finally, we'll go over our questions real briefly later after I introduce our speakers for today. But just so you're all aware, if you had pre-submitted questions, we have condensed those, clarified the questions where needed, and tried to arrange them into some kind of a conversational flow. But I can talk forever. I love to be interrupted. Please, if you want to participate, if you want to be heard and you want your question asked, I'm trying to monitor the chat and the video windows for the hand raising thing. But if you don't want to do that, totally fine. You're more than welcome to just come off mute, interrupt me. I'm good with that. So without further ado, I'm going to start introducing you to our speakers today. So first off is Kelly Kugler. Kelly, would you like me to read this or would you prefer to do your own introduction?
I can do my own. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was an awesome intro, Meg. I feel like I've known you forever just by your little intro, and I hope everyone else in the group feels the same. I'm sure you all can read the slide. It's basically a bit of my background. I'm originally a New Yorker. I've done about 4 career pivots. I had a degree to teach and then went into creative services and joined a startup for about 10 years and did creative services production. And then I got into recruitment, found my way into technology, moved from New York to LA, did a little tour in Seattle, and then lived in Amsterdam for some time and then came back to LA about 2 years ago. I shifted my focus from recruiting for companies and training hiring managers and trying to improve those systems to doing what I really love, which is working one-on-one with folks. I've been coaching folks on the side for years, and I decided to make it a permanent thing. So I did it on my own for the last couple of years, and recently I opened up a Laura Collective, and thank the stars, Jill joined me. So her and I are now helping lots of people with things like we're going to talk about today, which is job search communications and the other things that we didn't know when we did it. So we want to deliver that to you so you can have a better time. You can reach us on LinkedIn. You can book free consultations if you want to talk to us. I tried to start answering questions that you guys posted, but there are a lot of questions and I love seeing so many, so we'll do our best. But rest assured, if your question doesn't get answered, you will be able to reach out to us and get personal attention if you need it. And with that, I'll pivot to Jill.
That was a great intro, Kelly. I'm so excited to be working with Kelly. We've been working together. Well, we started working together in 2014, and we were working with career changers. And so I'm just really glad to come back full circle with Kelly. I've been mentoring on and off, actually mentoring nonstop since 2014. But a little bit about me. This is a story. I started coding when I was 8. I started creating digital products in the early 2000s, but I've been a career changer. I've done everything from I closed loans at a bank. I was a school teacher. I taught yoga. I've worked in retail. I've had my own businesses where I've created wholesale and retail products. And that was kind of when I pivoted into knowing that I just wanted to do UX. Well, actually, then it was graphic design and web design, and now I'm into UX design or UI design as well. And so I was a career changer as a single mom, and I started teaching at GA and was able to kind of pay it forward and kind of give back that way. And I haven't been able to stop. And so I started my agency so that I could help mentor emerging designers. I wanted to do it en masse. It's not possible. I can only do it a few people at a time. But I help people build their portfolios, careers, and experience so they can go on and do their favorite thing that they want to do next. And so, yeah, I'm excited to share with you what I know about my own experience and what my experience of the people I've helped mentor and how their careers have evolved. And I'm looking forward to answering some of your questions today. And like Kelly said, if we don't answer all your questions, we'll make time for you. Just reach out to us. I'm going to also try to answer the questions that are listed on the Power to Fly site. And I have a few favorites that I pulled today, Meg. I hope that's okay, that I definitely wanted to try to answer. And
Yeah, absolutely.
so yeah, I'm ready to jump in. I think there's one other thing Meg, you're gonna talk about, or Kelly's gonna talk about.
I got you. All right, so we're gonna go to our next slide here. So first, before I go any further, I'm gonna linger here for a couple seconds per slide. So if you wanna get a screenshot, these are all of the questions, and I believe it's the same order that we've arranged them in for today's discussion. Now, Jill, if you've got a call out and you wanna, start with one first or something, absolutely, and we can start with that without the slide, the single slide for it, and then if we get to it later, we'll just skip it.
Okay.
But I find that this is helpful for people that join who maybe didn't submit a question in advance, who have a question that occurs to them. So if you're going to grab your screenshots, go right ahead. But this will give you an idea of the questions that are going to be asked. So that way, if something that you want to ask is already on the list to be gone through. Or if you have a question that occurs to you about a specific subject, like I said, it's kind of conversationally arranged. So that way you can kind of know where your question might fit in best. I'm going to swap to the next page here. So this is our page 2 of 2. So feel free to take a screenshot if you like. No pressure. You don't have to. I just find that our type A joiners tend to appreciate this. So we'll linger here for another couple seconds and then we will get started. Jill, which question would you like to start with?
Well,
or
you know what? I'm good.
If jump in. I think right before we do questions, could we just do a quick review of the PDF download? Because I'd like everyone listening to understand the different scenarios of why we wrote these message templates, right? It's not just, can you introduce me because I need a job? It's how can you make these introductions work so you can grow your network and move through your job search with people helping you and not applying to an inbox. So I think that might help other folks who maybe their question isn't listed kind of frame their own question or how they can take in what we're saying. If we could just kind of maybe give them a glimpse of that.
Very true. All right, so I have, okay, so let's see. It looks like it's the wrong link here. I apologize, guys. Let me do a screen share first, and then we'll send the correct link out.
Yeah, cool. The screen share is perfect.
All right, so share.
And just a little side note while we're waiting. The beautiful thing I think about the fact that Jill and I were able to work together now is not only were we both teachers when we both landed at General Assembly, we were part of the first team that built General Assembly LA. I did the original job search program, teaching them how to be their own recruiter and get jobs. And Jill built the original design program. So the idea that we can come back together and help people, but because we both come from education, is really what's making this click and makes it more enjoyable for us, to be honest. Oh, I see the PDF. Very good.
There we go. Okay.
And a fitness class. I'll take an invite.
Yeah, you can come. It's not that long from now.
My home workouts aren't great. Lifting my laptop is not enough.
Mine are somewhat lackluster. Okay. So do you want me to scroll through this, or how would you like to handle that? While you guys are talking, I'll get our correct link together for everybody so we can share.
Yeah, and I'll lead you through. So basically, y'all, you have a 5-page PDF free download. She's going to add it in the chat. It'll also be attached to the email follow-up after this webinar where you get the link to the recording. It will also be added to the Allura Collective blog where I have a blog post with the same exact title, so you could find it easily in case you want to read a little bit more about it. Okay, so basic intro in the beginning of what these mean and why we're doing it. These are customizable templates that you can use for different job search situations. You can change the words if it says global agency to national insurance company, whatever it is. But this should help you frame how to actually approach this communication. If you could scroll down so we could see numbers 1 and 2, Meg, that would be awesome. So you start with a basic, right? A basic ask. The job was posted, I'm a fit, can you introduce me? Easy breezy. Here's another one. The job, you want an intro to the company, but there's no job posted. So a lot of people would say, why should I bother? I say you should always bother. You should be asking for who you can connect to so you can be on their radar or in their pipeline the next time something comes up. Just submitting your resume is not enough to keep you in someone's mind. So if you can use your activity, it'll fill in your job search by asking for introductions this way. Intros and referrals are different. A referral is when I say, you should talk to Jill. I worked with her. She's amazing. An introduction is, I've known Jill for quite some time and she's interested in your company. Can you help her get connected so she speaks to the right person and she doesn't get stuck in the inbox? Okay. If anyone's uncomfortable asking for an intro, then my best advice is at the end of your message, write, and of course I'm happy to help you. My network is yours. Let me know what I can do. And I call that my Jewish guilt syndrome. Just don't feel bad about it when you offer to help as well. Let's go to the next page. So now we're up to number 3. You're asking for an introduction for a job that's a fit, and you're including a mini cover letter. So if you have a full cover letter where you're giving someone 1 to 2 small paragraphs about who you are and why you're a fit, your mini is cutting that in half. You're doing 1 or 2 sentences about who you are, what you deliver, and then you're doing 1 or 2 sentences about this is why I'm a fit for the role or the team, and this is what resonates with me about your company. Cool, let's go to number 4. And again, you can read these, they're fully adaptable. Everything in the brackets and capitalizes is where you can change it. So it should be like a fill in the blank or maybe a fun Mad Libs if you want to have some fun with your friends that are job searching. This scenario is introduction asked to a company, and there is no job posted that's a fit, right? So you'll see the language changes. The language is, I see your connection to either a company or a person, whatever. I'm reaching out to ask you for an introduction. I was unable to find a posted role that fits my expertise, but my interest in working with your company, your product, whatever, continues to grow. So you're giving them a reason for the introduction. It's not a waste. You're not saying, can I have an informational call and take 20 minutes of your time? You're not really asking them to give up their time more than you're asking them to read your consideration and pass it on. Does that make sense? You have to give them a reason. And also when you give someone a reason, it's easier for them to tell the person they're introducing you to why they're making that introduction. Yeah, let's go 5. Then we have 6 and then we're done. And it's only 12:16 and we're totally on track. This is great.
Calling out real quick that Nicole was able to put the link for the download in the chat. So if you see it, it's up there under Nicole Felter. Thank you, Nicole, a teammate and the real MVP here.
Excellent. So intro to company, the job is posted and it's relative in team or in department, but not in title, right? So Jill's the hiring manager. She is director of design, and there is a role for, she wants a VP role, and the only role posted is for a senior manager, right? You know the team is hiring. Maybe they're expanding in a way that doesn't suit you, but why wouldn't you still ask to be in that pipeline and find out how that growth of the team is going to evolve, right? You want to plant seeds that are going to come back to you in a month or 2. So that's the scenario for this one. And then the 6th one is basically a follow-up that I think most people could use. I think Jill and I use this all the time. Someone says to you, the job's on hold, or we'll let you know. A lot of people don't get back to you. Has anyone ever had that happen? I'm sure. So sending a little follow-up without saying, do you have any information yet? Because you want to assume someone does their best can help. And this is the way around that. What you're doing, instead of saying, you told me you'd let me know what's going on and I haven't heard from you, that's not going to get you much. What will help is, I'm following up with you and telling you I'm still available. So you're going to give them another reason to reach out. Jill, as a hiring manager, do you have anything to add on these, or do you have any, reservations, or maybe specifically about design? Do you think a link to a portfolio is great to include in a mini cover letter, or anything you want to kind of add to this so they can make it their own?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think if it's for design, I think a LinkedIn link, even if it's in a LinkedIn message, to that person's profile, anything that's going to help that person stand. It's like if you're doing an introduction for someone, yeah, anything you think is going to help them stand out. Really no reservations here. I think I want to encourage people to let go of reservations, because I think that's one of the people are afraid to reach out on LinkedIn. And I think I saw a study recently that I can't remember where, but basically there's that layer of familiarity. So connect with people, reach out to them. Don't just be a blind person with a resume and an uploaded inbox somewhere for a job posting. Like I think these tips are fantastic. And, you know, the more you practice it, the more you get comfortable with it. Someone was asking is one for specifically LinkedIn or email, but you can kind of repurpose these any way that you want to. I think it's really just about the context of making an introduction or giving a referral, and again, the follow-up. So no, I think these templates are fantastic. Kelly, you've done a great job.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. Couldn't have done it without you.
Seriously, guys, these are great.
As we're talking about this, remember the point of this is that you can change it, you can adapt it, and you can make it your own. But this is kind of what Jill and I talk about as being a life skill that we always wanted to give our students, of how you think through your job process, right? You shouldn't be going and looking for jobs posted is going to make you depressed and make you want to like punch a wall, most of us anyway. But when you're going through to look to connect with people, following people that are doing what you want to do in a few years, you know, it kind of gives you a different level of activity in your job search. And you're also going to likely build your network as you do it. And for any of the people that don't respond and connect with you, who cares? We didn't lose anything.
Right. Right. And people are busy. I think in the beginning, and this kind of keys off into one of the questions up there. In the beginning, if I didn't hear a response, I thought it was because they didn't like me or something. Now that I'm so freaking busy, like, I realize I don't have time to respond to everybody in as fast a way as I want. It might be 2 weeks, it might be more, you know, and even if it's in my inbox, in my email, or even through LinkedIn, you know, just because I haven't reached out doesn't mean, or reach back out doesn't mean that I'm not interested or want to have that conversation. So I think kind of having some patience in the beginning, especially if you're kind of new to this, you kind of feel like you're talking into an empty, you know, well.
Yeah.
And that's not how it is. People are just really busy.
And remember too, that these are reusable. The mini cover letter, once you get your statement together of who you are and what you're doing, that's a copy and paste for every message. You should only have to be rewriting a different person's name and maybe 2 sentences of why you're interested in that new company or that role. The rest of it should really be able for you to automate and copy and paste. If we don't have any questions in the chat, I say about the document, I say we go into live questions. Any objections? Any questions?
I want to just piggyback on one other thing. I think we should move forward. Yes. And I want to add one more piece to what you just said, Kelly, about doing that research in your job. I think this can't be said enough. Look for the places you want to work for, or people you want to work with, or the projects that you want to work on. Instead of, like Kelly said, just kind of submitting resume after resume just to be doing that, or application after application, and connect with those people in those companies, and then use these templates to reach out to them. Because I think that, you know, I think a lot of people skip that step and they wonder why they're not getting a job or anything else. You definitely have to make those connections. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn, but anyway, you really use LinkedIn. It's given me every job opportunity that I've ever had. Someone has found me almost every time through LinkedIn. So anyway, don't be afraid to leverage that. And these templates are a great gateway in.
All right, so I don't see any live questions in the chat just yet, so we will get started here.
And
we are ready to go. All right, so I'm not sure who wants to take which question, so I'll just direct it to the pair of you.
Cool.
That's cool.
What would you advise when people know someone who works at your target company? However, the company is so large that your contact, quote, doesn't know who to forward your resume to.
I actually added an answer for this. Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Cool. If anyone's playing bingo, there's our first can you hear me? So check the box. All right. Let's see how many we get. I actually answered this in comments, so I feel like we could breeze through it because I want Jill to be able to dig into some of the design questions that she's much better at than me. So basically, my answer for this is you have to take control of it. You have to go on LinkedIn and you have to go through either look up the company or do a people search and find the recruiter, the talent acquisition person, or the hiring manager, AKA decision maker. So that means this person running the team you want to join, or the person or someone that's in the department, and ask your friend to introduce you to that person, right? If you're on LinkedIn and you can't see who they're connected to at their own company, then their connections are probably turned off. You can ask them to turn them on. Mine are on, so people can filter through them. But if somebody is saying they don't know who to send you to, they also may not have the confidence to do so. So that's where that mini cover letter becomes so important, because whenever you ask for an intro, you want to make it seamless. Like, I should see what you wrote to me of why you're a fit, and basically be able to forward that and feel like I'm bragging about you. Does that make sense?
And I think the other piece to that is when you're asking for someone to refer you, giving them that template saves them time, because they're not having to think about what they're writing and what they're doing. People ask similarly for recommendations. Write it for me. I don't have time to write it, and I'll edit it for myself. But giving them that piece, I think, will also kind of make it faster and easier for them.
Yeah. And it's okay. It could be the case that the person isn't comfortable. Maybe they think that referrals and intros are the same thing. And if that's the case, it's fine too. You want to look and go after the things that are going to come through, the things that are yeses. It's kind of also a sales thing. You don't want to keep spending time trying to convince someone who's a no. You want to just go after the ones that are going to help. So for this person in particular, I think that's our best advice. Decide who you want them to introduce you to and give them more direction.
That's an incredibly good call out, because job hunting is one of those things that gets really tiresome and it feels grueling very quickly.
It sucks.
I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be a grind. It's not, peaches and puppy dogs. People don't go on vacation and job hunt for fun. But, it's definitely something that using that exact tip of don't beat your head against a brick wall, try and see where you can get the yeses and use that to leverage and kind of move yourself forward. It's a really good way to try and help not only just avoid burnout, but it's a good way to alleviate it, because nothing says you have to keep doing what you were doing previously just because that's what you were doing. Let's try something new.
Yeah. How about we put in a design question? Because on that first screenshot that you have, Meg, I did answer a few of those, I think, on the site, and I'd love for Jill to really give folks what she's got on design. Did you have a favorite, Jill?
I had about 6 favorites.
Pick your favorite of the 6.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, if you can call out what you want, then I can find it. I can find it in the slide deck. So that way you can start talking.
Yeah, some I'll touch more deeply than the others. I think. Okay, I'm going to answer this one first because I think it'll be kind of fast. What's the best way to stay positive when asked why you're leaving your current position? And I think this is a really relevant question. And I feel strongly about this. I'll try to make it fast so we can go through all the questions. First of all, I think the culture around people leaving a team or a company, it needs to change. That's something totally different. Again, from my agency and in some other leaders in the field, if someone's ready to move on, help them, and don't make it have to be a secret. Always have that door open. Look, I want to help you grow. I want to help you do these things. Let me connect you to my network. Maybe I can connect you to your next best thing. I think supporting each other in our career paths, it's always hard to lose someone, especially someone you enjoy working with, but if you want them to be happy, so because the work's going to just deteriorate if they're not. So that being said, I think that, when you're leaving your current position, it's best to say, I've enjoyed my time here, or whatever you want to say about it, but I think you can always turn it into a conversation around growth. I've been doing this. Now I'm hoping to join a team like yours so I can grow and practice this. And I think that that's the way that you turn that into something good. Nobody really wants to hear, I think this is kind of an unsaid part of the question. No one wants to hear, people were mean to me. I didn't like what I was doing. My boss was horrible, blah, blah, blah. Don't kind of go into that negative type of talk. So by the way you form the question, I know that you already understand that, but it does start to be a downer. So think forward. It's almost like a retrospective. I did this and now I'm ready to do this. And that's how I would do that. Let's see.
And that's a good way to talk about it, you know, to like really think more about how that person's going to feel about your response. And sometimes it's a little bit more important to be diplomatic than to be 100% like transparent about something.
True. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that takes a while. Like it's when you're in the shower or you're driving or whatever, that those kinds of things of how it's important to practice how you speak about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other part. Don't be caught off guard by that type of question, because you plan on getting that question. Why are you leaving your job? We all want to know that. And the way you answer that will let me know if I want to work with you or not. And, yeah. And wondering, like, are you the problem, or are they the problem? Or is it really just a growth thing? And I think growth is always the perfect answer.
Yeah. And in talking about moving on.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, in talking about moving on to a new role, whether you were laid off, whether you quit, it doesn't really even matter. But for some reason, we've been instilled with this thing, and it was in the recession a lot too. Remember being told if you have a break in your resume, no one will hire you. That's it. It was ridiculous, and it's not the case. But what it did was it put us in this position that we assume we have to be defensive about why we want a new job. And I think that that's completely the wrong mindset, and I think it hurts us. You should be on the offense. I want you to walk in and be proud of the fact that you are either leaving a company, left a company, or why you are moving forward. Does that make sense? Even if it's a very small thing to you, even if you were looking to work with an international product, or if you happen to get laid off, there's no reason to be ashamed of that or feel badly about that or have to say, I got laid off, but I'm really good at my job. You are perfectly capable of saying, this was the company's decision, this is what I do, and this is what I'm ready to do for you. And if you move through it that way, like you could write out your word vomit and then edit what you're planning to say back. So there's no, I think, there's no, I really want it. There's no, I'm very good. You're just good. You just say what you think. You just know what you do and how you do it. And I think that's really a great way to prepare yourself for those conversations. There's no reason to defend yourself.
I love it. And it's
only
easy.
my opinion. Sorry.
No, but it's easy to get stuck in that kind of defensive mode because you're already feeling so vulnerable because you're like, please hire me. So,
yeah.
And so you start to try to defend what you do and how you do it and that you're good at it. And so it's really easy to get in that defensive state. I don't want to railroad it, but I have another one I want to answer, but I think it's across the board.
If Meg's down, I'm down. Here we go. Cool. Choo choo. Come on.
All right. So can you please include approaches for introverts versus extroverts? Thank you. And I think the templates help that a lot. And I just want to say that as UX designers, there are probably, I'm going to say, more introverts than extroverts in UX design. We're observers. We study, we watch, we learn. And while I think I'm a mix of those two, like after this webinar, I'm going to have to go like hang out and not talk, just be by myself for a minute. But I think the approaches are different. And I have seen a difference in my students who have gone to apply for jobs. And Kelly, I'm hoping you can piggyback on this. I have been able to see a trend based on gender, on ethnicity and cultural background, and how that has affected introvert and extrovert in interviewing process. And I think there's definitely something there, male versus female or whatever. I think that practicing, like what Kelly just said, what are you going to write, what are you going to talk about? I think it's okay to be an introvert, and I think it's okay to do that, but there are some different ways. Kelly, I'm wondering how you've approached this with people that you've helped mentor and coach. Because I have seen where people don't sell themselves enough, or what they can do, or the difference they can make, because they're just kind of, it's not even that that's just not their personality. They don't sell, they're really great at what they do. They're great at working in a team, but they're not great at selling it. So.
Yeah. And I think it's unfair to expect everyone to be good at that. And that's one of the things I think that is fundamentally broken in the interview process. I have plenty of theories, of course, about job searches, you can all tell. But what I would say to that, I think introvert and extrovert is really, it's largely about your personality. Like, for example, I'm kind of a secret introvert. I had business development jobs. I was a recruiter. So my career made me be extroverted, but it was always for work. Personally, I am really not that way. I'm a New Yorker. I have walls. I'm not like a big sharer. But when I'm talking about other people and it's for work, I was always very good at being extroverted. If you're an introvert and you feel uncomfortable talking with other people, and whenever someone mentions networking, you just kind of want to vomit because you think you have to go in a room and talk about business cards. I mean, not now because it's on Zoom, but like that's the impression you get. Then my best advice is to work on your written communication. If you can communicate clearly and well via an email, via your cover letter, via your portfolio, via taking a work sample and then attaching a rewritten brief about why you did it and making that part of your resume as an extra PDF, you can communicate in the way that you're comfortable. And I think that that's what you should be doing. So if you're more comfortable writing versus talking, to someone in person, then that's how you have to prepare. So when you're going into interviews, you should have your bullet point statements of your career stories ready to go. So you have reference points as you're talking to others. It kind of makes you feel like you're showing up to the test with Cliff Notes, and you are 100% allowed to do that. Whether you're interviewing on video or in person, you can bring anything you want with you. There's no cheating involved, whatever makes you comfortable. And that's also the other trick too. Jill and I did an event in February in Los Angeles, and someone asked, I go to these events and I don't get to talk to everyone, or I didn't get to talk to the speaker. And I said, who cares? Just message them after and say, sorry, I didn't get to talk to you. This is what I wanted to ask you. Yeah. So you can find your ways around that. And especially in starting as a teacher, I believe that we should be reframing things and teach people the way they learn best. I don't think we should expect everyone to do it the same way. I think it's completely the wrong approach. So I encourage all of you to figure out what makes you more comfortable and then take it from there.
And one final thought for me on that is, I am horrible at selling myself or my agency or my services, but I'm great at talking about what I do and why I love what I do. And I think that that's a switch for me as well. So yes. When it kind of comes from that teacher mentality, I'm greatly afraid of public speaking, but I love helping people. And that love of helping people overrides my fear of being judged, because I'm sincerely there to help people. And I think as a designer, at least, we're there to help people. We're there to help teams and owners get those products out the door and do the best job for users. So coming at it from that vantage point changes a little bit of the nervousness or introversion that I would normally experience.
Yeah. That's such a great point. I really hope all of you are hearing Jill on this one, because she has a lifetime of experience. I've seen her talk to a room full of people, and you would never know that it makes her uncomfortable. When we're talking in front of people, whether it's one-on-one in an interview or a whole room, when you feel the shakes inside and you're losing your breath, nobody can hear it.
No.
That's one of the public speaking tricks that I like to tell people. You just kind of have to get yourself used to it. But what Jill said about going through and talking about your work is an excellent example. If you get nervous during interviews, introvert, extrovert, whatever it is, then instead of talking about yourself, say, you know what, I have a great example of that. I want to show you a project that I built that illustrates what you're asking, and then share your screen, or if ever we're in person again, bring your laptop, and then have them look at your work while you're telling them the story, so they're not staring at you. Does that make sense? So when, like right now, the camera, and the reason I keep looking like I'm looking at the ceiling is because my camera is on my phone, which is just lower than my laptop, so that what I'm focusing on is the content and talking to you guys, and not my face. Because every time I look at my face, I'm completely uncomfortable and distracted, and I don't want to focus. So use your work and talk through that, and take yourself out of it. Like, take the spotlight off yourself. That would be my best follow-up for what Jill said. But I think that's such a great idea, and I think it's been helpful to a lot of people, especially designers, because it should be about your work.
Yeah. It's about your work and your collaboration, and it's not about, are you the fun, loud person in the room? I think that's not about that.
Let's do another question from the list. Where's that list?
Well, so we actually have one that just got raised in the chat anonymously. Ooh, so if you don't mind. This person wants to know, if you're changing your area or your industry and you don't have experience in this new field you're going into, you just have transferable skills from your background, how can you highlight this in your cover letter or your CV?
I love this question. Jill, I love this question.
I know, this is your question, not for me.
All right, I love career transition. We're working on a blog, and then hopefully some more content around that. We just started with job search communications. I've done at least 4 pivots in my career. I get it. And as a recruiter, I've helped a lot of people. whenever you do a career transition, whoever asked the question, you mentioned having other experience that's relative. That is your leverage and that is your lead. So let's take an example. A junior UX designer just finished a boot camp. They want to transition into that. And previously they were working at a tech company as customer support, right? Your mini cover letter should talk about, I have this many years of experience working in a technology company with a product similar to yours. I have worked in this volume of users that we serve, which is similar to your company. And I'm really excited to apply the foundation of my knowledge thus far, along with my UX design skills, to your team.
Boom.
You lead with what you have. They will not know the difference, and they don't need to. Because when you do cover letter and resume, your only job is to get in the yes pile and get a phone call. And then it's up to you.
Yeah, I like that.
Still, anything to add? Did I miss anything?
No, I think you did a great job with that. And I think there's one that was one about, I'm going to tie it into another question. I'm making a bit of a midlife career shift. I have tons of experience in similar areas, but now I'm seeking a career specifically in UX, and I don't want to sound old. I think there's a similar thread through these two questions.
Yeah.
Leverage your experience. If there's any way to reverse engineer some of what you've done, similar to what Kelly was saying, what are those metrics that you can share about what you've done in the past and how you've brought value? And then can you relate that to any products and kind of a case study type method? Can you, and say, look, I was able to give this energy here and effectuate positive change, whatever that was. And then I think, like you said, Kelly, you said it really well, I am ready to bring that to this team right now. And I think UX designers in particular, your history is your key. The more vast your history is, the actual better you are. In fact, I love this career because I think of ageism a lot in careers. I think it's not happening in this field because my wisdom of experience, I'm just accumulating it over and over and over again and become a subject matter expert because of that time. I remember when I was early on, I'm like, when will I ever be good? And now I'm finally like, okay, I've got this many years and I'm about, okay, that's imposter syndrome is gone. And I have, I know how to pull from those past experiences and past jobs that weren't necessarily UX design or whatever, field you're going into. So yeah, there's a very, people miss that opportunity a lot, and it's hard because you're thinking about it on your own. So that's why I like to work with someone outside myself when I'm thinking about that. And my teachers and mentors have helped me a lot with that as well. So
I'd also say when you're writing these things out, I have to write a lot. I'm a word vomit writer, and then I edit back, right? That's just kind of how I do it. That's why it takes me so long to do these things. I also see a custom scenario for everyone, so I have a hard time generalizing.
Same.
But in this way, it's really a mindset. Like I want you to look at your previous experience as education. You would never apply for a job and say, I just got a computer science degree, or I just got my master's in human interaction design and not mention it.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't go for a job after learning all those things. If you spent 6 years in school getting a bachelor's and a master's, it's not like you would apply for a job and not mention it or talk about how, and not use it as your foundation of what's relevant. Your career experience is just as valid, if not more so. And someone brought up the word experienced in a way where I kind of heard maybe leaning to like the word older, I guess, or, the PC word of seasoned. You have to keep in mind too, we've got about 50% of the workforce as millennial. When you are seasoned, shall we say, you also want to talk about your people management skills. Your skills and your experience working within a corporate culture and in an office environment, and the ability to mentor and be an ally for those around you. Even if you're, say, a little more junior in design, but you understand the product, you can talk to other people on other teams because you've had experience with a similar company. All of these things will make you a better candidate than anyone who is applying and just saying, here's my 2 projects, I'm a junior.
Yeah.
Guys, I sit through these like 8 days a week. Listen to them, okay? I'm serious. Not only are they dropping some of like my favorite tried and true, like think of it this way, but like in a much more eloquent way. But not only that, they are dropping some truth bombs on you people, and these are valuable and they're really great little gem like nuggets of things that you can take forward. Like I thought we were gonna like hit with that PDF and then be like, okay, cool, and then we'll talk about it and then we'll stretch discussion. No, guys, this is like nowhere to go but up. It's insane. This is amazing.
Thanks,
I will be
Meg.
referring to this and sending this chat to so many people as soon as we're done here. So seriously, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Super
Let's
quick.
do more.
Yeah,
More
we're doing more.
questions.
There's more coming up in the chat if you would like to answer questions there.
I see one
Let's go
there.
live.
So let's see. Munir wants to know how to deal with perfectionism block while you're preparing a presentation for UX design project.
That sounds like Jill.
Yeah. So I'm curious if this is for your portfolio or are you presenting this on a job interview? And I'm going to say probably for both. Okay. So one of the things that perfectionism, UX design is not UI design, and UI design is a part of UX design. That's a whole nother conversation. I just want to see your case study. I just want to know your thought process and how each step affected you along the way, how it informed your next decision. I want to know that you can sketch on paper, so it kind of, don't worry, use a template. Actually, I really recommend early on, this kind of goes to another question. I'm liking being able to tie these questions together. At what key point should I focus on my LinkedIn profile, portfolio, and resume as a UX designer? This is a portfolio question. And before you get into the throes of, do I use Squarespace or Wix or Webflow or WordPress for my portfolio, write your case study in Medium. You don't need a portfolio to apply for jobs. Portfolios are existential crisis for every designer I've ever met, even for myself. Who am I? What do I look like? How do I represent? What's my brand? Like, who cares? Just, I want to see your work. I want to know that, like I said, you understand the process. And so let that perfectionism go. Have somebody else look at your portfolio. Have somebody else give you feedback, because we can stare at something for so long that we don't even see words anymore. We're just looking at shapes. And so I think that it's important to bring somebody else in to take a look at it, share it with a couple other hiring managers, recruiters, or colleagues, and don't get too verbose. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Do your research. As a UX designer, research how to do your portfolio. Look at other portfolio examples. What are the ones you like? Look at the people that if you're applying for jobs, look at their portfolios. Again, a grain of salt. If you're busy with the full-time job, you're probably not worried about keeping your portfolio up to date. So I caution that a little bit, but it's part of your research process. So, that's kind of how I would go about that. Let go of perfection. It's about the story you tell, not about the visual, and be succinct in how you tell that story. That's where I would get more perfection, I think. Like Kelly was saying earlier, she writes a lot and she trims it down. Do the same thing. Write as much as you think needs to be there, then pull it back.
Yep. I couldn't agree with Jill more. I would say 99% of the blog posts that are up on Allure Collective, the ones that I wrote, would not be up there if Jill or our other partner, Nikki, didn't read it first and tell me it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We all have that. We all look at things. I'll still post something on Instagram sometimes and get nervous and be like, what did I just do? We all go through that, right? But the thing about the perfectionism piece is maybe you can look at it as, this is my opportunity to get feedback. And even if someone doesn't like something or they give you a critique that you don't agree with, who cares?
It comes back to just being yourself.
It's kind of that. And the other stick too is, if you're interviewing, for example, or even if it's a presentation at work, if they don't like it, fine. You can always do another iteration at a job. But in an interview, Jill, what do you think of if they present a portfolio in an interview and they notice they didn't get great feedback on a section and they feel like it's not perfect?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you agree that it's okay for them to follow up with maybe another link, or maybe writing up, I really took to heart your feedback about this project on my portfolio, and when I thought through it, here's how I would do it if I was going to build it again.
Yeah.
So what Jill said about telling people how you think, you can do that in an interview. You can do that in a follow-up. You are 100% entitled to share your thoughts with anyone. They don't have to listen, but you're totally allowed to share them at any time. So I think if you bet on, or you plan to set a follow-up after you present your portfolio, maybe that will take the sting out of the need for it to be perfect.
Yeah.
So you can go into that meeting or that interview looking for something to improve instead of worrying what improvements they're gonna suggest or something like that.
Very true.
That's a good
Ladies,
follow-up.
you're blowing up in the chat here. Do we want to keep taking questions? I know we've only got 12 minutes left. It's shocking to me that we only have 12 minutes
I
left.
know. I wanna do a train thing again. Okay, I'm gonna just read off some questions, and then one of the things I saw in the chat is about is there a knack to being good at self-promotion and CVs?
Yeah.
Kelly, I know you're working on some templates for resumes right now, and I think that, you know, follow Kelly and what's happening there, because she's creating a great template there that will help answer that question. So I think we can kind of sidestep that. Just keep following Hugh, keep following her. What are some things you wish you knew early in the stages of your career? I think the templates that we're sharing here, I think that's what I wish I knew at the beginning. That's the key point. And that the imposter syndrome goes away once you have enough experience under your belt. And then maybe not always then, but it gets better. Is it realistic to start a UX job in the remote situation? Yes, because right now everything's remote. And I think that we're gonna all have to be able to learn how to collaborate remotely.
Yeah.
So most everything I do, I design my life so that I could work remote. I've been working remotely for a long time now. As a UX designer, I like my kickoff meetings in person, but ultimately that doesn't have to be done in person anymore. Those can all be done remotely. So if anything, I would practice your Zoom, GoToMeeting, Blue Jeans skills so that you are and calendaring, so you're familiar with the tools and you can present yourself well in any of those digital situations. I think that's the hardest part right now. So yeah, I think it's totally.
I agree.
Now's
if
the
there was
time
ever a good time to try working remote or from home, it's now. Companies can't be like, no.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people hiring. So even if so a remote situation isn't really affecting anything. If anything, selfishly, I'm, you know, that's a silver lining to all of this. It's validating that we can all work from home and still be with our families and get things done.
Yeah.
So.
And I will say, like, when working remote, Jill mentioned things to work on, like about Zoom and things like that. I would suggest when you're working remote, it's really important to work on your written communication, because even though you have conversations Slack back and I've been working from home for 2 years, I've wanted to do it a long time, but I love being able to work from wherever I am. I purposely used to work when I would go to Europe on vacation just to figure out how I could make it work between time differences. And it's really okay. What you have to get really good at is going from quick ASAP texting Slack type messages of like getting used to like meeting people all day long. And you have to move into more, I accomplished the task. Here's my brief of what I did. So we don't really have to talk about it because now it's documented and written out. And you give yourself more time to work. At least this has been working for me. And you also have communication you can come back to later instead of everything being on the fly. Yeah. So that's what I would suggest, especially if you are working in design or if you're anything having to do with recruitment or something where you're between people where communication is really important. Because especially working remote, you don't know what's going on with someone else. There could be 3 dogs and 2 kids running around while they're listening to you. So your follow-up in terms of like written communication it's the most important thing.
Yes.
Good call outs, ladies. Very good. All right, we've got 8 minutes left. There's a couple people asking about connecting with you guys for later on and to utilize your skills. I've put your LinkedIn information in the chat again.
Awesome.
See.
Also in the download, you'll find links to Allura Collective's social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. You can connect with Jill and I individually on LinkedIn. You can follow Allura Collective. You can also go to the website, alluracollective.com. You'll find easy access to book a free consultation. You can also visit the blog for other free downloads that we have. Jill mentioned we're going to have some resume templates coming up and other things. We really want to work towards what you all need. So the more feedback you can give us about what you'd like us to give you next and what we can address, that just helps us help you more. So please keep it coming. We both do this because it's the one thing that we really love to do. It wasn't the thing of profit. It wasn't the thing of anything else. especially for me. You know, I came back from a different country and decided, how am I going to be happy every day? And this is what really feeds us. So please give us your questions. Let us know how we can help. And anybody who sends an intro request with a good mini cover letter to either one of us will certainly get a response.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, we want to give you information that's helpful. We don't want to just spout out stuff for noise or for SEO or anything like that. This is real actionable. Any talk I've done or workshop I've done, people have to leave with something actionable, not just kind of like, okay, well, that was some cool theory. So I have 2 more questions in my clipboard. I don't know if there's anything on the list here, but I'm going to read these off. What key points should I focus on? On my LinkedIn and portfolio and resume as a UX designer, I'm going to table that a little bit. Kelly and I are doing a UX hot seat in June, and we'll talk all about that. We're going to do live portfolio reviews and answer these types of questions there. So I'm going to table that. And
the link to that is on the website, and you guys can check that out. That's when Jill and I together, we do a live portfolio and resume review. We've done it as an event on site.
Yeah,
but
it's
now
contextual.
We're going to do it remotely. Yeah, so you'll have a live example. And also all the things we're telling you, a lot of these questions kind of bleed into each other, and some of them are fairly general. And we hesitate to give too many details, because without knowing the context of your situation, we don't want to give advice that's not personalized to you. So any of these things that we talked about, if you feel like there's a way to pivot it better so it fits you better, ask us and let us know.
Yep.
One thing that was brought up in the chat that I feel like is unusual, I've never heard this conversation or this question before. What do you think is the biggest misconception about job hunting?
I saw that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of what the biggest one would be.
Off the top of my head, I would say anyone who says job hunting is fun is just lying. The reason I want to help people is because I hate it. That's just how I feel.
Oh, the job hunting's easy. It may take you 6 months.
No, job hunting is a full-time job. 100% is a full-time job.
It's stressful.
And nobody teaches us this. How do we go through school and we don't know how to balance a checkbook of a bank, and we don't know how to interview for a job? It just doesn't make any sense. So we have to rework it, and we have to get comfortable. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is you just click and upload a resume. And that is, I think the misconception is that that's the most effective way to do it. I think that's just the most commonly known. But the reason why these templates are here, and the reason why we've adapted them, is from our experience and from working with folks, going through people and exercising the patience to plant those seeds when you know job search could be 1 to 3 months on the regular, and now it could be a little longer. But planting these seeds so you have people in your network that will be an ally and will speak for you and just say, this is a cool human, could you just connect them to your recruiting team? That is what you need in your job search. Yeah. When you click the inbox and upload your resume, there's a recruiter, could have been me, could be an assistant. There's hundreds of resumes. And when they go through that inbox, they're looking for no's. They're looking to shorten the number so they can reply really fast. So everyone gets an automated email that we checked your resume and you're not a fit. And then the rest are still there, but they're sitting there waiting. Versus if I'm in the seat and Jill, my colleague, pings me and says, hey, I have an intro for you. They're interested in your role. Could you take a look? No problem.
Way faster.
It's always going to be more effective to go through a person. And I think what's happened now, especially, is now we have different ways of connecting with people and meeting them. Before the recession, I had a ton of clients that never, ever had to apply for a job, went through their whole career with people just making suggestions, and it happened to work out. And then in 2008, all of that changed. So it's work, but there's help out there to make it less work for you. And it's doable.
Yeah.
The only other thing I would say is you can change anything you want. And that was my answer to the, what do you wish you would have known earlier? I wish I would have known earlier that if I genuinely feel I need to do something else, that I can do it. I don't need to listen to people that tell me if you have a gap in your resume, you're done. I don't need to listen to people that say, even though you're not happy, you need to stay in the job for a year and a half. No more.
Not anymore.
No more.
People change jobs, even in the design field, sometimes as fast as like 6 months, and they've just kept leveling up each time. Not always the norm. And it's good to know kind of every job and role is different. I think as long as you're learning and you don't hate it, you should stay. But ultimately, if you want to level up, and whether it's money, location, or whatever, everybody's case is different, like Kelly said. But yeah, this has been so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for all your questions. Kelly, I love doing this with you. Meg, you've been such a great host.
Hey, you guys have made this easy on me. I'm usually doing a lot more heavy lifting of like questions and trying to encourage discussion and getting a lot of like moony-eyed stares from people that are like, entertain me, clown. I need job help. And also I'm bored and it's quarantine and I get it. I'm here for it. I love it because I'm employed, but it's usually a lot harder on me and I am loving this. Don't worry, you'll be coming back. I have no doubt. Okay, so we've got less than a minute left. Yeah. My doorknob question that I always ask everybody, what is the one question about either your job or your subject that we're discussing that you wish people would ask you that they never do? It's my favorite.
Oh my God.
Ladies are thinking.
Do people, are you posing that to us? Yeah, like, what do I wish people would ask me?
Yep, to you too. So you guys think on that. While you're thinking, I'm going to say thank you to everyone who joined today. You're all lovely. You're all cool humans, as Kelly said. And I'm super happy that we were able to kind of experience today together. This was amazing. And I really, really, really want to make sure that you all understand that you're the reason we're here. So we're really happy to connect with you. Super happy to answer questions you have. If you have more questions about Power to Fly, there's always hi@powertofly.com. You can email there. I usually answer, so hey. And yeah, it's just thank you for joining us and thank you for spending your Thursday with us.
I think I have an answer.
All right, go for it.
We're at the end of it. I think what I wish people would ask me more is, I wish they would ask me more to tell them honestly how difficult job search can be and how bad it can start to feel. Often people want to ask me about how to make it better and the solutions, but sometimes when I get to know folks, especially when we become clients or even in a really good consultation, when we can get comfortable and I can tell them about when it took me 3 weeks to write a resume and I cried and I didn't know what to do with myself, and when I thought I would never find a job again because I was out of work for months and I didn't know what I was going to do, I find that we can really connect even better, and then it feels less lonely for the other person, knowing that that's kind of normal. Kind of like our quarantine conversations, within a day, I could cry over the virus, and then because of who our president is, and then I could feel amazingly wonderful like I do right now doing this webinar. So this whole roller coaster is normal, but I think it would be really valuable for everyone if they asked, what has been the worst part of your job search? Because I think sharing the stuff that's dirty makes us feel better because we realize we're all in the dirt together. Like when I used to teach GA, I started by saying your job search sucks and I don't know anyone that likes to interview, so let's do it together. Here we go. So I think I wish people would talk about that more, because I really don't. I don't know anyone that says I can't wait to interview for a job. It's like, I can't wait to go date. What? I've never seen it happen.
At least with dating, you get dinner. I've never had a job interview with snacks. That's all I'm saying, guys. I've never gone to a job interview and have anybody be like, would you like some goldfish? I've got Chex Mix if you want some. Never. That'll win me. I'll stay at that company forever. Why do you think I like my company now? I have my own fully stocked fridge 18 feet from my desk. That's what I love. Cat and dogs.
Beautiful thing.
Jill, what about you?
Thank you, everyone. We're so happy we were able to talk to you today. We love Power to Fly. I did a webinar with them in November. I love this community. I love what they're doing for women and everyone else. I love the lens that you look at companies in terms of how they benefit their employees. So we are really happy to be a partner. We have more events coming up and we're planning other webinars. If you go to aloracollective.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter. It's only once a month, so it's not crazy. And then also the events, we have an event section on the blog. So the UX Hot Seat that Jill and I will do in June. Jill's going to do a solo Power to Fly webinar coming up.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. Yeah, it's next week, is it?
More. Sorry, Jill. I can't help but promote you. Like
I love it. I can promote myself. You promote me much better than I promote myself. My silly thing, my answer was, I don't know if this is answering your question, Meg, or not, but no one asked me my GPA in high school or college. I really wanted them to ask me that in my job search. And so now I tell them
to show off.
Kinda, but only not actually my first attempt at college, my adult attempt at college was way better. I was on the dean's list. So, it, had different motivation at that time, but no one asked that. And no, they don't tell you that. No one tells you that your GPA doesn't really matter. It might in some fields, but it certainly doesn't in the UX field. It's a skill-based industry, not a pedigree-based industry. But nobody talks about that either. Do I need a straight A's to get this job? No, you don't.
Good call out. All right, so I did throw the link, if anybody's curious, I threw the link to Jill's upcoming chat with us in the chat, or in the Zoom chat, sorry. I do have to bounce, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to walk us all out today, and I will leave the bridge open for a couple extra minutes in case anybody wants to go back and troll some of the links that are in the Zoom chat. But see, it's 4:03 right now. We'll shut it down at 4:06. We'll give you guys 3 minutes, okay? So
Awesome.
thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Jill, for spending the afternoon with
Thanks,
us.
Nikki,
We're
Kelly.
doing this again soon, I've decided.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, and if anybody wants to talk some more about like sourdough and Schitt's Creek and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we are also doing a, we're calling it, I think it's Netflix and coffee. What do we call it? No, it's a coffee break. We're taking a coffee break tomorrow morning. You can chat with Nicole, who's one of my coworkers, and myself. It's from 8:30 a.m. Eastern to 12. So it's like literally just pretend you're going to the, you're condensing all of your coffee breaks into one. Come chat with us. It will be unstructured and lovely and networking kind of like this. Just get to know people, build relationships. So with that being said, thank you, Kelly and Jill, for spending time with us. And I have treasured today more than you will know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Bye, everybody.